Welcome back to the Hang Gliding Files. Well, today's episode is going to be about how to set up multiplayer so that you can hang glide with your friends, and we're going to show you how to do that and get it all set up. Well, the first thing that has to happen is all the pilots that want to fly together need to have the exact same date and time and know when the flight's going to occur. We suggest that everybody post up their proposed group flights up on our Discord, Virtual Reality Hang Gliding. And inside that, you can create threads that will define the flight task, the dates, and the times so that people can find you and join you in your flights. And also, you can use our AdventureCom channel so that everybody can join to that and they can talk to one another during the flight. When you've done that, make sure that everything's set up in Discord and you're ready to get started on configuring your flight. Well, next up is to configure your flight instruments, basically your flight computer, that's going to help you fly the task that might have been defined for the group. We like to use XC-SOAR. It can run on the desktop or it can run on a phone, and it is completely compatible with Microsoft Flight Simulator. So it directly reads the telemetry from the flight directly from the simulator, and then you can use the flight computer then to navigate from turn point to turn point, what's the directions, when you've gotten to a turn point. And we find this extremely handy. And this makes group flying much more enjoyable when you have a objective and a task to complete. This software just enhances that, allows you to navigate and find what you need to do and where you're going and where your friends are. So we set up XC-SOAR as an integral part of our group flights before we get started. Well, next up is setting the weather that you're going to use in your group multiplayer flight. The very first important thing is the date and time. All the players should have set the exact same date and time, no matter what other weather configurations that you're going to use. You need to choose whether or not you're going to be participating as all players or in a group. And if you're in a group, only people in the group can see other people in the group. And when you're all players, it's just that anybody that's nearby you on the same server, you'll see. In addition to that, if you're not going to be using live weather, you need to choose a weather preset. And we provide all of the weather presets as part of our other apps, but all of the glider pilots need to choose the exact same weather preset and have that loaded before they join into the flight. If you've decided to fly as a group, then one pilot is going to be identified as the group leader, and whatever that pilot sets as the date and time will automatically be set for all of the other pilots in the group. But each individual pilot must still have the proper weather preset set and loaded prior to joining the flight. That's very important so everybody gets to see the same basic weather being developed at the same time. Well, now it's time to get into the game. So what you do is each individual pilot spawns themselves onto an airport somewhere, and it actually does not matter at all which airport. Then you all need to teleport yourself to the launch site that you're going to use. Once you're in the game, the simulator starts rendering the weather preset based on the date and time that you're at and where you're located. So if everybody just starts at the same time, the algorithm creates the same weather. You should now see your XC-SOAR highlight and show you your exact location. Now, if you're flying in VR, you can't see the XC-SOAR, so what we use is another app called FS Desktop, and it allows you to create a virtual window that will let you see your XC-SOAR in a pop-up window inside VR. Very handy, highly recommended. If you've decided to fly in a group, this is the time now to set that up. In a group, you need to make sure that all of the players are visible on the same server. And also the next thing you need to do is the group leader needs to send an invitation to all the other pilots in the group. And remember, a group is a grouping of people who just want to see each other and they don't want to see anybody else flying around. And the other benefit of a group is that the group leader sets and determines the date and time so that all players are having the exact same date and time experience. As long as they have the same weather preset, they're also all experiencing the same weather. So once the group is established and everybody is joined to the group, those conditions will prevail. As you may have guessed, flying in a group setting can cause more issues than just flying by yourself. And we're going to explain a few of those things and what you can do about it here. One thing you might notice is that when you spawn either onto an airport or onto a flying site, you may end up on top of another glider. And this is fine, it doesn't cause anything, it's just a visual thing. You might also notice that when you look at other gliders that you're flying near, that they don't seem to be in the right position. A lot of times we found that the glider ends up being a few feet off the ground as compared to where you are. And the other pilot actually sees you as the same way. Why this happens, we don't know. It doesn't affect anything, but just be aware of it. Another thing you might find is that somebody that spawned in might not even appear other than just the wing and no pilot. This happens a lot when people are either kicked out of a group or have some form of technical error and have to rejoin the group after it has started. We're not sure what causes that either, but if you see it, it doesn't really cause any issues, and you can just continue your group flight. It doesn't affect anybody flying or how the flight simulator performs. Another issue you might encounter is that the animations, like here on the windsock, have stopped. If you ever see that, what will happen is the code in the background has gone glitchy somehow, and you're not going to be able to launch. We're looking into this, not sure what causes it, but the way you fix this, if you see it, is to eliminate the windsocks, which is the sight scenery that you're flying, to get rid of that, and it'll just go away. Well, it is worth it to get through all of the setup and configuration to fly with other people. You get to see other hang gliders. It's a much more enjoyable experience talking to and flying with other pilots. I'm looking forward to the day when we can all get together and have 10, 15, 20 gliders up in the air flying tasks. I think it'd be pretty exciting, and it'll be very fun. So that's what we're trying to do with this video, is show you that that's what we're trying to aim for. Because what we do here at the Hang Gliding Files is we film adventure videos, and so the rest of this video is going to be about us flying a task that we set up as an adventure thing, and we're going to bring you guys along. Well, this is going to be about a 100-kilometer task flying from Sicida, Italy, that we built in our previous video. Here we are, we're trying to get to the start point, and we fly into the start cylinder, and we need to fly through and come back out of the start cylinder to start the task. This cylinder is about 3 kilometers away from the takeoff, and once we successfully complete the start, our flight computer, is shown here in the lower right, will let us know that we've accomplish this task, this turn point, and we'll be able to continue on to the next turn point. In this particular flight, we both flew the same glider, which was the Pathfinder, with a slightly different color. That's called a livery. But in the future, what we want to do is we want to be able to have everybody flying different gliders, and maybe even custom gliders, and One of the issues that we're trying to resolve is how can we do that so that everybody can see each other's custom gliders, even though they don't own that glider. We'll have some updates on that later. Well, here we are approaching the first turn point, and you can see that marked out in the flight computer and how far we have to go to get to that turn point cylinder. Another thing to notice is that you can see other pilots, and those are notified by those little name tags that you see flying around. Other gliders that you're flying with will be identifiable by those as well, and it's a very handy thing to have so you can see the other pilots. We can also use other apps like Little Nav Map that will also show your relative position of the other gliders on a map as well. I don't particularly use it, but other people can, and it comes in very handy sometimes. Once we made that first turn point, which was about 26 kilometers from the launch, we make a turn and we're heading across the valley to the next turn point, which is the next mountain range upwind. Well, this turn point was on a very high mountain peak and Monte Cerveta, and was actually quite cool. The scenery was awesome. I'd highly recommend anybody also try to do this flight. It was quite scenic. Well, the next leg was about a 30-kilometer crosswind leg over a valley and then through some pretty decent-sized mountains. For those of you who are paying really close attention, you might notice that the flight duration and some of the other indicators on the Vario and the flight computer don't always match up to the time and what you would expect in a flight like this. Well, that is because we had quite a bit of trouble filming this flight. We both flew it in VR, and what you're seeing mostly is us capturing video after the fact using SkyDolly. And the reason we had to do this was is just the difficulty in filming in VR. And we're really dedicated to flying in VR, but filming it for our videos is proving to be difficult. We're getting better at it, but that's one of the things that you'll see here. We're heading into turn point number 3, which is at the top of that peak that we're just pointed at right there. This was a pretty long glide, and one of the things you may notice is that the Pathfinder is gliding pretty well. And it probably is gliding too well, and you'll see differences in our future gliders that they'll be performing in a more realistic manner. But also, this is the Alps, and it's very, very soarable in the Alps, and we pick premium conditions, so take that into account as well. Well, now we've turned and we're heading for our final turn point, number 4, which is just above the indicated landing area for Seseda. Another thing you may notice as you watch the glider and some of the airspeed indicators, we are flying pretty fast, upwards of 80 miles per hour on some points, and that's a little bit too unrealistic as well for a hang glider of this type. So again, wait till our next set of gliders, you're going to be amazed. Well, there we go, 100 kilometers in a virtual hang glider in a simulated reality. That's pretty awesome. So all we have to do now is circle down and get in the landing area. I hope everybody enjoyed this flight. We're getting better at what we're doing, and all you beta testers, please be aware that we've got new software coming down the line and new gliders, and everything is being updated as we speak. Just be patient. But if anybody wants to set up a flight and fly with us, just give us a notice in an email or in the Discord, and we'll set something up. All right, now we'll just set up here and come in for a landing. Well, if you're interested in flying hang gliders in Microsoft Flight Simulator and are not yet a beta tester, just send us an email on the link below to the hang gliding files and tell us that you're interested in becoming a beta tester, and we'll send you the Pathfinder now. But in a very short period of time, we're going to have some updated software and a new glider called the Hawk come out, and that'll just be part of the regular software, and everybody will have it. Well, if you like the videos or like what we're doing, like and subscribe. Helps the channel. And if there's anything that you would specifically like us to see or try or explain, just let us know in the comments. Anyway, hope we see you all out there on the hill. Later.